All right, so this is a little different than some of the other reviews that I've done, but I am having a kid soon, so having a look here at some car seats. And what I've got is two that I thought were kind of at the top of my list, so ended up getting both of them. And so what we have is the PegPerego. This is the Urban Mobility. It's the Urban Mobility because it has this built-in car seat situation. That's really funny. It looks like a little shark, doesn't it? I never noticed that before. That's pretty funny. And then over here we have the Aria, which is the Uppababy. This is not a baseless. It's kind of baseless because it does have the belt routing, and then it has the attachment on the back for the European. So this can be used baseless, but it comes with a base, which is over here. I'll show that in a second. And so yeah, so these are two that I was considering, and so gonna show it to you guys. And it's maybe a weird comparison. So we have a pretty big price difference. So this, and I'm looking at kind of travel systems, right? So that's where it's a car seat, and then there's a stroller situation, and they kind of go between. So this is $500 just on its own. The Aria is $500 just on its own. And then this, I believe, is like around 300-ish on its own. But then for 500 all in, you also get the stroller part of it. So 500 all in, and it comes in a package, so it's all together. So the stroller and the car seat, it's 500 all in. If you want a similar setup, it's 500 for the car seat, and then another 500 for the stroller, and I have that over there. I'll show you that in a second. Now, these were a little bit less expensive, so I don't know if I'm getting hit by some of the tariff stuff in 2025. So, you know, when you watch this, maybe the price will be not as different. But yeah, so these are kind of different, and let's have a look at some of the things. So size is one. So if you look at these are quite different. It does make sense because this here is designed for, like, I'm a baseless car system. So it's like the base bits and the car seat all in like one thing. And then this is just the car seat, and then it has a separate base, so a lot smaller. Way lighter. So this is a little over 6 pounds, and this is almost 10 pounds. I think they say it's like 9.9 or something. You do notice the difference. So if you pick these up, you will notice quite a bit that this is a lot heavier. But you have the built-in car seat system, which is what's kind of cool about this one. Yeah. So starting kind of from the top here, one thing that I noticed with as a difference, so this has a decent amount of side-to-side kind of movement on it, as well as forward and back movement. This is also plastic. And then if we go over here, we'll see that there is basically no movement on this side to side, and forward and back, there's almost no movement either. Like, you're moving the whole thing. It's very like locked in. This is also metal, plastic. This has a nice little grab handle, you know, but you would expect like there's to be some kind of nicer things, you know, with it being more expensive. So it makes sense, right? I think this is just fine. I think this would work. I think it's not a big deal. I don't think it's a safety thing. It's just something that I noticed that is different. And so if you like the difference, then maybe you want to go maybe for a more expensive option. Yeah. But I do think this is just fine. I think it's okay. One thing that's, I think, better about this maybe is that it's a lot bigger in this car seat area than over here. So if you, I don't know if you can really tell on camera. That's the thing, it was hard to tell when I was watching other reviews. And I think it'll be hard to tell here. But like, this is just so much bigger in here than this. And we can measure it quick. And I'm sure you can find the measurements online as well. But like, you know, if we kind of go down here, it's like 12. And if we kind of go here, you can see, you know, I don't know, about another inch and a half or something like that. And then front to back, you know, we're looking at maybe like 11, where this, you know, this whole front piece here, this whole front piece here, you know, that's like coming out to like 15 almost, right? So there's more room in this one. So I think like child comfort wise, and maybe even like size, you know, kids a little bit bigger, you can probably stay in this a little bit longer. But it's heavier. So it's heavier, but it is bigger, lighter, you know. For me, I'm kind of thinking, I don't know if it matters for me too much with this guy, because I think I'm gonna get a convertible car seat anyhow. So I don't know how long they were really gonna be in here, and then I'll probably move them into that convertible car seat situation. And so, yeah, you could get a convertible out the gate, but I like the idea of like being able to have this and then put it right on the stroller kind of thing. That's why I ended up going this way with wanting to get the infant car seats. And yeah, another difference I noticed between these two, so this hood situation, so the material's different. There's a bunch that's different about it. So, so one thing, when you come to put this up, it actually hits into the handle, which is kind of just, I don't know, I think it's a little weird that they made it like that. It does seem like it's made to kind of bend underneath, but you do just have to kind of do that acrobatic work every time. Has a little vent here. This zips, so if you don't want the full length of it, you don't have to have that. It comes down really low, so tons of great coverage on this one. The material does feel different. This is a little more plasticky, not quite as like fine stitching thread kind of stuff as like what you find over here. If you go over here, this comes down, but no issue here. This comes right in there, easy. You can leave this into position. This does have a piece that you can pull down here. So, you know, you're getting a lot of coverage on both of these. I don't know. Personally, I just like this better. Oh, let's talk about the material too. So you can kind of tell, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it's just a little bit finer. So it doesn't feel quite as plasticky. And then this does have a vent back here. So it is vented and lots of good coverage. And this can just kind of pop up into here. And then you just kind of snap this back. And then that is that. But again, when you're doing it with this one, it does kind of get caught in this top. And then it's kind of, you like push one side and then you have to like push the other side. And then it kind of like, you can push it back. So just not quite as like smooth. But again, I think it works just fine. It's just a little bit different. Again, I think that's kind of what you're paying for with like a little bit more expensive. But you know, this is like almost half the price. So it's like, wow, this is a lot for, I think, half the price kind of thing. Let's look at these. So pretty similar mechanisms here. This is just plastic and it snaps together. In here, plastic, and it snaps together. And then this, you push here. This is kind of not super easy to do, one-handed. Push in here. And then these pop up, and then you can snap it into place there. Pretty similar here. This has a little slider guy, and then you hit the button here, and then that goes into position. Maybe like a teeny little bit easier to do one-handed on this one. Barely. It's barely kind of similar. So yeah. All right, let's see. Anything else that's interesting? So this has the nice like head impact stuff in it. This basically has a similar thing here, so nothing too crazy there. This has the pull to tighten, this has the pull to tighten, so really similar there. Oh, material difference, that's another one. Again, this kind of has more plasticky. You can kind of tell that it's not quite as tight weave. This has a lot tighter weave and it feels more smooth. I would say though, I do wonder if this is maybe easier to clean because of just like how it feels. It kind of seems like it might wipe off where stuff would get caught a little bit more in this, but this feels nicer. Maybe like that it would breathe more or something. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's true. Let's see, let's get side comparison on it. So you look at this guy, again, a lot more substantial. It is because it's got that built-in car seat situation. They both have this like rock kind of thing that they can do. One thing that I didn't think was a difference, but this actually has rubber on the bottom. So when you set it down, it's kind of quiet. Where over here, there's not little rubber things on the bottom here. Like this has these, you can see here, these like little rubber feet thing. And so just quiet, just a nice little touch. I think is kind of cool. What else? So the mechanisms here. This can go forward, this can go back. This also, you can do the belt routing, but you have to move this into position. This one has it kind of built in here. I think I mentioned that this has the little handle thing on it. This is metal, this is plastic. This doesn't have like a grab handle on it. What else is interesting? Most car seats have the release latch in the back. This has release latch in the back. This one, same thing. It's up a little higher, so it's up here for the release. There's venting underneath here. There's venting underneath here. A lot of this stuff is super similar between these two car seats. This is like a side impact thing, so you undo this depending on which side of the car you have it on. So you have that in the out position, so if something hits into it, that's just something that can take some more load off of like from when the kid is in there. I did like that this is a made in Italy situation. I thought that that was cool. If you actually look, a lot of the brands that are popular seem like they're from Norway or Finland or Germany or something, but actually the companies are owned by a Chinese holding company, which is fine. Whatever. It's just something that I noticed, so I thought this was kind of cool. This was actually one that is still kind of on their own. I believe they're still owned by the family, and so I liked that about it. Again, instead of it just being a big financial company that owns it. And I believe that this Uppababy brand is the same, so they also are still family owned. Again, these companies get bought all the time, so who knows how long that'll last. But at least when I was looking at this in 2025, these are both still run by the people that started it, or family members, at least, that started it. So I like that. I think it's kind of cool that it's not just like a big financial company that owns them still. What else should we look at? So I think I already mentioned, so both sides have this. This actually just plops into here. as it just clicks into place, and then these undo, and then you put it in to the belt, the anchor in the car seats, and then you'll pull on it to tighten it, and then that's it. That's all you do. Where over here, you're going to be using a base system. So this is what the base looks like. It has these cool leveling bubbles in it. I think that's really neat. It has these color-coded bits, and so like when you go to put that in the car, you push on it, and then when it's green, you see how it turns green there, it tells you that there's enough tension on it. So it's supposed to be really easy to install. This I'm not going to pull these out, but in here are similar to what that had, where the anchors are, so they'll anchor into the car. And so yeah, so this goes on really easy. You just put this on to position, and it locks into place. And then in the back here to take it off, and then that's what it is there. Anti-rebound situation. And then this also does have an arm, which is here. I'm not going to extend it, but if you want, you can have that sit down into your car. And yeah. I might do a separate video where I show this actually in the car, because I think that's kind of interesting, just like how this actually like attaches into there. So I'll probably show that. Both of these have like the fire resistant free, they both have little stickers that talk about that. So they both have that. I think most of them have that now, to be honest. I think that was a while ago that was a bigger deal, and then now it's not as much. Let's look at how this goes on, which is another thing that I think is cool about this one, is the city loop situation. Again, for $500, and then you put that into, so there's this little kind of clip area here, and there's a little piece there, and you line, I'm doing this one-handed, and then it clips into place, and then boom, there you go. Now it's a stroller. Now it's on here. And this, I think this is pretty well made, you know, like people talk about like, are there too many moving parts? This is pretty elegant, I think. It's really just this that can slide up and down. I think that's kind of cool that it can slide up and down. And you can put it into, oh, I guess I thought there were multiple positions. There's not. It's either fully extended or it's down. So I guess I was wrong about that. Yeah, so it's either up or it's in this down position. But yeah, it's really just this one moving part on here, just this part here. And then this is all metal. This is all metal down here. It does have suspension on it. The only thing that I thought was a little bit weird is that this is like a foam kind of style. I don't really get why they did that, because I think these kind of get chips over time, don't they? I'm not an expert in strollers, so I don't know, but I think these get chips in it as opposed to it being like a rubber material. I kind of wish that they hadn't done that. It's probably fine if you're in like a city situation. For the most part, it probably is not an issue at all. But I don't know. I feel like rocks or gravel, if you're ever onto those, that you might have issues with that over time. But I might be wrong. Maybe this is really strong and I'm wrong. This is kind of hard to put into position. It does feel like it's high quality, so I bet it really holds up over time. But you do have to kind of, and so with your foot, when you're doing it, you have to push up, and then you push down, and then it locks it into place. And that's kind of how that goes. And so, yeah, let's see. Let me take this off. Put that over there. So how you fold this is you push this down into position, and then you want to grab behind here and you pull this, you push, and then this is kind of meant to be like a handle. And then you basically just pull it up, and that's what it is. So very small, it gets really small. To undo it, there is a lock here, so you have to pull that. And then this is pretty easy to do with two hands. I'm holding the camera, so and then this just opens back up just like that. And yeah, that's pretty good. It seems to push around pretty well. These are larger tires. I think that's really nice. Sometimes if you get those super travel situations that they put smaller tires on it, so it's not as nice. This is like a nice, you know, padded, I think this is probably like a fake leather kind of thing, but it feels leather-like. It's pretty nice. It's nice. It's a nice handle. Yeah. I don't have it, but you can look online. This does have a stroller piece, I think for another $200. So that then sits into here. So when it outgrows this, you can then put that in here. And so then you add it. So that's one thing to think about, is that it is nice that this is $500 for the stroller and for this, but this doesn't have the seat. And so then that's another $200. So really you are going to be spending like $700, $500 for this and this, and then another $200 for the seat part. So really this ends up being a $700 such system, but it's nice that you can split it up. Or maybe you never use it. Maybe you just want this and then you want to do a different stroller, so then you save that money for forever. So it does give you options. I think that that's nice about it. Yeah. Let's look at how it works with this guy. So with the Uppababy situation, there's a bunch of different strollers that you can get. I like the idea of like the really minimalist ones. So this is like the travel, this is the Menu 3. And I'll probably do a review just of that on its own. And then you do have to buy these. So these are like $30 for the arms. So those pull up and those pull up. And then you go over here and you grab your car seat situation, and then it comes down and you have to align it with those. And again, this is pretty easy to do with two hands, but I'm holding the camera, so, and then it snaps into place, and then boom. Now you have it on there. Yeah, and like I said, I'll do a separate review of the stroller itself, but just really quick, I do like that this kind of has its own shade built into it. So you can kind of do just this, or if you want to use this, you can, or you can use a combination of both. That doesn't have that part, so there's that. Personally, I like this comes up a little bit higher than, well, actually, you know, they actually are pretty similar positions. Let's look. It's a little higher. Yeah, so I do like that this comes up a little bit higher, but this is also not adjustable. It's just this height, so you can't change it. But that one you can't either. I mean, you could run it in the low position, but yeah. So again, this is just a little bit higher over here. And then, yeah. So And then this just comes off. So in the back, again, on the back there, you pull up on that and then it releases. And then you got that. And then to fold this, you put these down into position. And then here, there is a lockout. So you pull that over and then you pull this button. So you kind of do this with your thumb, you pull this and then pull in. And then that unlocks this, this lever system here. And then it just crunches down into basically this. So this also super small. I believe they're saying this is where you can put it in the overhead bin of a plane. So super small. It has this little handle also. That's kind of cool. So you can pick that up by the handle there. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. So for me, I think I am gonna go with the Uppababy system. The reasoning is I like that this is a little bit lighter. So I think that this being a little bit lighter is nice. And then I do like that the stroller has the seat built into it. So I think like long term, you just kind of have everything, you're ready to go. You could use this without that also. It has that like bassinet convertibility kind of thing. That doesn't have that. You have to use this or buy the other thing. And so even though this is more expensive, I do think it kind of just sets you up so you just kind of have it and you don't have to think about it. So yeah, but I think this is a great system also. I was really torn. I was really torn between these two things. I do like this gives you flexibility. You can, $500 all in, you have this. This hooks right into your car. If you're going to grandma or you're going to parents or grandparents or whatever, you know, they don't have to have their own thing. They can just use this and then have the kid. And if you're going between two cars, you just have this. Where here, you can, but it's a little bit more to like buckle in, or they have to buy a thing. Again, they don't have to do this. You can just buckle this in. So yeah, but yep, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I think both systems are really good, and it's really just, you know, price and if you want that flexibility. So different types of flexibility between the two. So it really is kind of an independent choice. But again, yeah, for me, I'm going to keep the Uppababy stuff and I'm going to end up returning the other one, but both are good. All right, cool. I'll probably post a couple other videos again of this being installed in the car and then this being installed in the car. And then I'll probably do an independent video of just the menu just on its own. Thanks.